Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you for waiting. Without further ado, it is my pleasure to turn the floor over to your host, Ms. Deb Smith. Ms. Smith, the floor is yours.
Good afternoon, everyone. As Wes said, my name is Deb Smith, and I'll be leading the call today, but we have quite a few people on our call. This is our first sharing call for the Maryland-Virginia HAI Improvement Network since we finished our recruitment. So we're real excited about getting this call started and getting things moving. Let me get this slideshow going from the beginning.
Hey, Deb, while you're doing that, I want to say a shout-out to everyone. Hello and welcome to the call, all of our Maryland and Virginia hospitals. This is Carol Whelan.
So is everyone, are you seeing you're not seeing it as a slideshow, though, are you?
You can go down at the bottom, Deb, of your screen. To the right, there's a little picture of a slideshow. Click on that. It should portray it over there.
What it do? Let's put it on my other monitor.
Okay.
Well, if you do slideshow, then it's going to advance whether you advance it or not. Just click on full slide. To the left, X out the small slides.
Thank you, Rhonda. All right, we're set.
There you go.
Okay,
you can advance.
Thank you. Did you all see the welcome screen now, correct? Yes. All right. So on the call today, besides myself, who I'm having trouble running my computer today, we have Carol Whelan, and Carol and I are the VHQC Improvement Consultants for the HAI Improvement Network. We're also going to be discussing our data, and so we have our data analyst for VHQC on the line, Jennifer Chang. We have our Maryland providers, our Virginia providers. Claudia Davis, the patient advocate for the HAI Improvement Network, is on the line with us. And Rhonda, who we've heard letting me know how to do things from VHQC, is also on the line with us. Rhonda's going to be our time monitor. We have Rebecca McDonald, who is one of our network providers, just like everyone else who's on this call, and she's agreed to be our chat monitor today. So you can talk with Rebecca in chat, and she'll be monitoring that. So I also want to just tell everybody that this is our call. It's not just VHQC's call, Maryland's call, Virginia's call. It's our call, the VHQC Maryland-Virginia HAI Improvement Network. It's all of our providers together. So we really do encourage and welcome your participation. We also have many stakeholders that, advance the infection prevention in Maryland and Virginia, and we like to give them some time on this call for any updates that they may have. So shout out to any of these stakeholders that are on the line, any Maryland stakeholders on the line who would like to share some updates. How about any Virginia stakeholders on the line that want to share some updates? At the bottom.
Nothing from us, Deb. This is Andrea.
Oh, good. Hi, Andrea.
Hi.
Just for those that don't know who Andrea is, Deb, introduce Andrea for us.
Andrea is the HAI coordinator for the Virginia Department of Health. And Andrea, did you want to just say quickly what your job encompasses? Besides everything?
Sure. So I coordinate the healthcare-associated infections and influenza programs at the State Health Department. And I have a team of a nurse epidemiologist, another epidemiologist, and in about a week, a HAI fellow. who work with other organizations like VHQC and the Hospital Association, as well as healthcare facilities across the state to help them implement prevention measures and track HAIs, as well as we do a lot of technical assistance with the use of the National Healthcare Safety Network.
Well, thank you, Andrea, and I know I really depend on Andrea a lot as a stakeholder and a partner in this business, so I appreciate you being on the call today. All right, so I really do feel that I am still recovering from the end of July. It was the end of VHQC's recruitment for the HAI Improvement Network, and I'm so excited just to celebrate that it's over and that we can get started really concentrating on the work of decreasing healthcare-associated infections. So as you can see, we ended up with recruitment. We have 36 Virginia acute care hospitals and 28 Maryland acute care hospitals. So at this time, we're going to be scheduling onboarding calls with each one of your hospitals. And as I know the Virginia people know, this is a one-on-one call. I sent out a doodle scheduler that confused me and everyone else, thinking that this was trying to get everybody together for a call. So it was kind of a little cute. And luckily, people let me know. During those onboarding calls, we're going to be identifying priorities and areas of need that are specific to your hospital. Part of our contract with CMS is that our providers use TUSP and/or Team Steps, so we'll be assessing your knowledge of TUSP and Team Steps during this call, too.
Hey, Deb, it might be fun if we ask those that want to and feel comfortable to, go ahead and sign into the chat and tell us the name of your hospital. You might see some of your colleagues around the state.
Well, and we did put a list. Here are the Maryland providers who have signed up with VHQC, and going through getting the letter of participation to us that you had to have signed by a board member, which was at times very challenging. And then even more challenging than that was joining the VHQC group in NHSN. And the icing on the cake, of course, then was joining the NCC group in NHSN. And I think while we were trying to get this all accomplished, NHSN was also having some problems of their own. So it was an exciting time at the end of July. Here's our Virginia providers who have signed up with the network with us. I'm so excited that all of you, Virginia and Maryland providers, have signed on with us. We're really happy to get started with this, and we just want to give you a huge thank you for taking care of everything that needed to be done to sign up. So just a couple, we call them please and thank yous, as we're moving forward in the next 4 years now of working together and having these sharing calls. First of all, come prepared to these calls to share. This needs to be an open sharing call. We'd really like to get some discussion going and conversations about what you're doing. So some of the topics with patient and family engagement, any lessons that you've learned over the last month, things that you can share with us not to do or to do, successes and barriers that you're coming across with your infection improvement work, any article, research, breaking news, something that you thought was really helpful to you would be helpful to the group too. When you are on the calls, be present and attentive. And we know everybody can't shut down completely for an hour, but maybe just, muting your, making sure your lines are muted when you're not talking so that we're not interrupting each other. Putting your cell phone on vibrate. If something does come up, absolutely take care of it, but hang up and call back in. And that way, if your hospital does have hold music, it won't be playing for us. And then once you've done those calls, take this call content back to your team and share it with them. And actually, I know there are some hospitals that actually watch this webinar, view this webinar, and listen to this call as a team. Just a couple more please and thank yous. One of the next things that we really need to get everybody to do is to join the VHQC online community. That community is called Ning. So if everybody could please do that. And then once you do get into the community, remember to join the HAI group in the community. I think it's infection prevention, so that you get put right into the blogs for the HAI Improvement Network.
Deb?
Yes.
This is Rhonda. I just want to let everybody know, when you go to join the online community, you should have a picture accessible, because it will ask you to load a picture as a part of your joining the community. It doesn't have to be a picture of you as an individual. It can be a group. It can be a flower. It can be anything, but you will have to have a picture on your desktop so that you can upload it.
Thank you, Rhonda. That's exactly right. And there's lots of cute pictures on there. You'll see once you join, too. Like Rhonda said, some people don't put their picture of themselves, but they put something else on there. There is some instructions which we will send out again to everyone on how to join. The other thing that we really, really would appreciate is if everybody would report their data into NHSN 30 days after the end of the month. That way we can be really current with the monthly data reports that we're sending out to everybody. Of course, we all know that right at this moment until Wednesday, I think it is, we're not supposed to be entering any data or pulling any reports in NHSN because they're fixing some issues that they were having. And then we will send out monthly data reports from VHQC, so when you receive them, just look them over and let us know what we can do to make them better for you, or let us know how usable they are. Those are your data reports.
Hey, Deb. I thought I'd give an update on the Ning community. I just went out and looked. We've had a lot of folks joining since the last couple of calls. But currently in our infection prevention area, we have 33 members signed up. So I think we've got some folks that need to go out and get signed on, and we just encourage you to do that.
Thank you. I'm going to go through these next couple of slides. Rhonda is our timekeeper, and I'm going to ask her to give me 5 more minutes. I'm going to go through the rest of these slides really quick to just set up for Jennifer and the data reports. So the goals for the HAI Improvement Network, and these goals are for 2019. Like I said, we have 4 more years to get this work done. For CLABSI, CLAUDI, and C. diff, our goal for 2019 is to be less than or equal to the national SIR at that time of measurement. So actually this is a little bit of a moving target for us because, as you know, every year this national SIR will change. We're also going to be following device utilization for indwelling urinary catheters, and that'll be per unit type. And we're going to be applying the targeted assessment program strategy from NHSN and the CDC. We're also going to be working with VAE, beginning work with that. So we're going to be adopting, of course, using the NHSN surveillance definitions and begin reporting VAE into NHSN. Many of the providers out there are already reporting, so we're hoping that they'll be mentors for the providers who are not currently reporting. And we'd like you, in preparation for that, our National Coordinating Center for the Quality Innovation Networks like VHQC did already have a VAE webinar about reporting. That was part 1. There'll be a part 2. So once you sign into Ning, that webinar will be on Ning. It will be there probably in about a week. So we'll let you know when it is there. And then those of you who did not attend the live webinar, if you would please just view the webinar, drop Carol and I a line to let us know that you did, in fact, view that webinar. And then antimicrobial stewardship, we will be trying to get those programs up and going and a little more effective and efficient in your hospitals. So one of the things we're going to be doing is making sure that we get leadership support for that, identifying your champions, both physician and pharmacy, and getting your team going if you aren't already meeting with an antimicrobial stewardship team. So just to let you know how this is going to work over the next 4 years, we're going to take this one step at a time for decreasing our rates. So if we were using the current national SIR for CLABSI, which is 0.452, by next year at this time, we're expecting to have it reduced to 0.588, which is 30% over the goal. By 2017, 0.542, 2018, 0.497 to our final target of 0.452 SIR for CLABSI. So we would want an aggregate of our network providers to be less than or equal to 0.452 for CLABSI. Now that's saying, of course, that SIR stays the same. This will go up or down throughout the next couple years, but we're still going to be targeting 30%, 20%, 10%, and 100%. So the same thing with CAUTI. Right now, the current national SIR for CAUTI is 1.165. So as you can see, we're doing the same 30, 20, 10% down to, we're going to be meeting that goal in 2019, which if it was the same as the SIR today would be 1.165. With C. diff, we'll be targeting the 2019 goal would be 0.913 if we were using today's SIR. And for device utilization for indwelling urinary catheters, we're going to be looking at this a little bit differently. We're going to be rolling this out as a percent of the units that we have who have met the device utilization mean for their particular unit type. So our goal is 60% of all the units by next year, all the way up to 80% of the units by 2019. So before we move on to Jennifer, I just wondered if there's any questions at all in chat.
No, Deb, they're on.
Okay. Anybody on the line have any questions about how we're going to be achieving our goals?
Sorry, can you send out the Webex again, or I'm not able to open it to follow along.
I'm sorry, who is this?
This is Susanna from
Susanna.
Hi. I was just going to send you an email, but you couldn't read it. If for some reason it's not letting me open the Webex, so I'm listening along, but I can't open the Webex.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Susanna who?
Colored.
Colored.
Did you take care of that, Rhonda?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, thank you, Rhonda. Anybody else having any issues?
This is whole week, I couldn't get into the Webex either.
Did you I know that the Webex came on a little late today. If you signed in before it was actually up, did you try refreshing the Webex?
No, I'll try that.
Yeah, I know I've had that issue before where I got on before they had actually opened up the registration. So then you kind of have to go up to the top and refresh. And sometimes that brings it up where you can actually sign in. But that was Carol Weaver, right?
Yes.
Rhonda, just in case, can you send to Carol Weaver too? Anyone else?
Deb? This is Adrian. Did you? I'm also not able to get on.
Okay. So Adrian Biggio also.
Deb?
Okay. Yes?
This is Sherry Merrick's. I also could not get in, but I'm trying to go back now to see if it'll work.
All right, I'll go back and just resend it.
Hey, Deb.
Yes.
This is Bonnie Green.
The link that's in the actual calendar event is repeated. So if you copy half of it and paste it, you can get it. So if you look at it in the link, it's like repeated all in one string, if that makes sense. So if you look close at it and then copy from https to .com, if you copy and paste this one section, you'll get in.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I found also.
Yeah, usually you can just click on the link, but I did have issues with that calendar invite. I'm sorry. It canceled it for some people and sent an update for others. So I sent it out again today. I don't know if they're both not working. Well, we will, while Rhonda's sending that back out, and I hope everybody gets on, we are going to move forward with the data review from Jennifer. So I will pass the ball to Jennifer.
Hey, Deb, while you're doing that, there is one question that came up.
Yes.
Will individual hospital data be viewed, or will the data be displayed as a sum total?
Yes.
That's from Gwen Stewart.
Okay, and we will let Jennifer answer that when she gets the ball.
Hi, we're actually going to be showing both the aggregate data and individual data, but all the hospitals will be blinded, and we'll be looking at what, for example, a sample hospital might look like for the reports. So at this point, hopefully you all have had time to review your individual hospital reports for the May 2015 update. For those of you who can't see the Webex at the moment, hopefully you can follow along with all your specific hospital files that should have been sent out yesterday. If you didn't receive one, it's either because we didn't have enough data for the months reported during this most recent time frame, or at the time of generation, your facility had not yet conferred rights to us in NHSN. So for each HAI, you should have received 2 files for a total of 6 PDFs. So one would be a monthly or quarterly report for individual units or facility-wide performance at your hospital over time, and the second would be a quarterly report comparing your hospital to other facilities in the VHQC network during the 12-month time frame. So we've sent out something new this time, and you can see these reports explained in greater detail in this new supplemental information file, which should be shared on Webex now, and it was included with this most recent data drop. So there we explained the differences between the HAI reports and the reasoning behind our formatting and analysis decisions. So please consult the document for a more thorough description, but I'll try to review everything pretty well today. So for those of you who are new to our network, I'll be going over the format of these reports for a sample hospital, like I mentioned earlier. So specifically for CAUTI, since it encompasses all the measures involved in the other HAIs with some additions, up on your screen, you should now see a sample individual report. So we categorize each unit in the hospitals for CAUTI and CAPSI based on how much data is available in NHSN to determine whether we wanted these individual reports to be given by single month or by rolling 12 months, which I'll explain in a minute. So the one you're currently seeing is by single month, and here in the top graph, we have that solid blue line, which gives us the SIR for this hospital unit by month, and then the dotted blue line gives the SIR for all the hospitals in the network. So that's calculated by the number of actual infections for our hospitals over the sum of all expected number of infections. And then the pale yellow background indicates the range of the network spanning from the lowest to the highest SIRs for the time period. We also gave the SIRs for Maryland, Virginia, and the United States from Hospital Compare, which you can see in this box in the upper right-hand corner of that top graph, and that's for calendar year 2014. So in the bottom graph, for those who have been in the network for a little longer, you might have noticed that one changed from the SDUR to the DUR. So now the solid blue line is going to indicate your hospital unit's device utilization rate, which is calculated by the number of catheter days divided by the number of patient days. So now the new comparison is going to be this dotted blue line here, which is the DUR mean for all units of the same type as your specific hospital unit shown. So the goal here, Deb kind of mentioned this earlier, do you want to have a DUR that's less than this mean, which, as you can see, the sample hospital is not quite meeting right now. And then the table above contains further details, so as well as the year-to-date data. On the very right, it's January through June right now of 2015, which is often going to be more stable since if the expected number of infections is less than 1, your SIR is going to be greatly inflated. So that's why the range of the HI network looks so crazy right now. Because a lot of times we had units that had expected number of infections less than 1. So to deal with that, we decided that we were going to try to transition every unit with sufficient data into a 12-month rolling report, since this is true of the majority of the hospital units. So the aim of this is to stabilize the monthly SIR rate. So here is a sample of a 12-month rolling report up on your screen. And this 12-month rolling aspect means that any given month is actually going to encompass a year's worth of data that ends in that month. So you can see by these headers up here, for example, January 2015 is actually going to indicate data from February 2014 through January 2015, and so forth. And all the headers should be labeled accordingly. So this way you can kind of better pinpoint how each month is impacting overall performance rather than seeing, inflated numbers usable for comparison, which you could kind of see from that individual by-month report. Other than that, though, the format and the features of this report remain the same as the other one that we saw earlier. And we still actually, even though all of these few months are those 12 months rolling, we still include that year-to-date data for January through June 2015 on the right-hand side here. And finally, the last type of report that you receive is that network report, which we provide, and it's broken down into ICU and non-ICU units, if applicable, for CAUTI and CLABSI. And it should indicate to you where your hospital's performance ranks within our HAI network, since it's sorted from the highest SIR down to the lowest SIRs. And these blank ones here, this means that we didn't see any, for example, ICU units reported on for your hospital during this time frame. So the benchmark lines, again, correspond to Virginia, Maryland, and national data from Hospital Compare in 2014. And these reports are also going to span a year's worth of data on a quarterly basis. So this most recent one is going to include quarter 3 of 2014 through quarter 2 of 2015. So you can kind of see more detail broken down into those quarters in the table above the graph. But this specific graph is going to represent that aggregate 12-month data. So we're hoping these reports will be useful to your facility as you work toward reducing those healthcare-associated infections. But like Deb mentioned earlier, we welcome any suggestions and feedback on what you think could enhance these reports for your improvement efforts, what would best help you. So I'm open to questions if anybody has any before I pass the ball back to Deb.
Well, we have one question in chat as to who John Hopkins hospital reports were sent to. Do you know offhand?
I think that probably Carol will answer that because she does know who Johns Hopkins reports went to.
Okay.
Yes, I can answer that. I'll answer it in the chat, though, okay?
Yes.
I just saw that pop up.
Thank you.
So does anybody have any questions for Jennifer? This is a great opportunity to be able to ask the analyst. It should be like a little TV show. Ask the analyst. Jennifer's the one who has created these reports. I think that if I was still working on the floor as an IP, these reports would be very valuable to me, but we really would like your feedback. If there are any questions that come up later as well as you're kind of digesting the data from your reports, you're welcome to send an email to Deb or Carol and they can relay those questions to me, and I'll answer them as best I can.
Now, Jennifer, this is Carol. I did get one email question in about the report, and they asked if we were going to I'm sorry, I'm getting some feedback, but if we were going to identify the Maryland hospitals from the Virginia hospitals in the network report.
Actually, Deb and I had just been talking about this too recently, and I think maybe moving forward we might do that, especially if people would find that helpful for us to separate the two states.
Yeah, it would just be having Maryland.
Okay, excuse me just one second. There is somebody who is not on mute and is typing and talking. So if you could all just take a second and make sure that you are on mute, because I know sometimes I don't know whether I am or not. I'm talking when I'm on mute and no one can hear me, or I forget to mute after I talk. So certainly understand how that happens. And the reason why we discussed it is having these two separate states is because we're getting a really long report. So I think it would be beneficial to have it broken down and then some type of a summary that encompasses the whole network. So if you want to type in chat, or if anybody wants to get on the line and let us know, if they think it's more beneficial to have it together, to have the states separated, to have both. This is the kind of feedback that we need to make these monthly reports that you're going to be getting as valuable as possible.
This is Renee Zemsky from Hopkins.
Hi.
Hi. It's a great conversation. I love the reports. I think they look great. I think it would be helpful to receive Virginia and Maryland reports, but to have them separate. And I was wondering if Maryland reports might be able to be individualized, where if we have SIR targets that align with Maryland's pay for performance program, if that could also be added.
Yes, that'd be no problem at all. As long as you let me know what those targets are, I can definitely incorporate them into the Maryland reports.
Great, thank you.
Well, that's awesome. So that is a target for all of the Maryland hospitals, correct?
Correct.
Oh, that would be perfect.
Yeah, I have a couple things that have come up on chat that those who aren't seeing chat might find helpful. I think Jennifer had said that we should have gotten our reports yesterday, but you pointed out in chat that you'll be sending ours this evening or tomorrow?
That's correct. And if anybody knows anything about Virginia, I live down in the near southwest Virginia, very close to Floyd, up in the mountains, and my internet is not the greatest. So it takes me about 15 minutes to send one report. A couple of you did get your reports. So it uploads into my email and I get it out. So I just didn't get the time yesterday to get them out. But I will be working on that after this call, into the evening, and then tomorrow.
And there was also questions about the slides, and Carol had mentioned that they'd be posted on Ning.
Yes, and then I see that some people can't access Ning. Is that correct?
Yes.
So I'm wondering, what we'll do is we'll send them out as handouts after the call and post it on Ning. And are there a lot of hospitals that can't get onto Ning? Maybe you can just put in chat if your hospital cannot. And then as far as that goes, and I hate to ask you to do this, but is there any way that you could maybe just sign into Ning from your personal computers once a day or something at home? But other than that, I guess we'll have to work with our help desk for Ning and see if there's anything that can be changed to make it easier for you to get access.
Deb, it would be helpful for us to hear from them if it's their IT is blocking it and why, because then our help desk would know what different issues they're maybe dealing with.
Okay, so you can email either Carol or I and let us know, and then like Rhonda said, maybe there's something that our IT department or our IT help desk, they can work together. So any other questions for Jennifer before we let her go?
I do have another comment that separating would be more valuable for some people.
That's good to know. So Jennifer, it looks like we were on the ball, right?
Yeah, so I'll definitely do that for the next round of reports then.
And then we'll also need to get that target for the Maryland hospitals?
Question about the national data. Because I see that Hospital Compare has 2013 quarter 4 and through 2014 quarter 3 data. Did you get 2014 quarter 1 through 2014 quarter 4 data from some other source?
It's still from Hospital Compare, but they hadn't officially uploaded it into the database yet. But they do send us preview reports that are a bit more recent. So in those preview reports, they gave us those state and national rates.
That's very interesting.
Jennifer, yep, thank you.
And Deb, we're about 5 minutes over, so you'll have to shorten your last 2 parts.
Okay. All right. Well, that was awesome. I love talking with Jennifer and working with her. She really knows what she's doing with data, so you all will have the next 4 years to be working with her also. We wanted to just let everyone know that we are going to be having Quality Innovation Awards yearly, and we'd like to announce the 2015 Innovation Awards. This is for both states, of course, and we're going to be recognizing VHQC participants with the improvement initiatives that we're doing. And this recognition program celebrates achievement across all the settings. So you can see excellence in home health and nursing home and care transitions and patient safety and population health. And the HAI improvement network falls under patient safety. So it's easy to earn recognition. If you're in the network, you're automatically considered, and we'll be basing the awards for HAI on the data that we can pull for VHQC from NHSN, and then also any other publicly reported data and your participation in the network. This award recognizes facilities that are achieving reductions in HAI and creating that culture of patient safety. So as you can see, we're going to take the top 10% of the hospitals in each state. That's going to actually be based on the TAP, Targeted Assessment Program, and specifically that program ranks the hospital, or that you can pull a report from NHSN that ranks the hospitals, and we'll be going over that program with our next month's call in September. And we're also going to be using the HCAP, so there'll be 60% of it will be based on your HAIs and 40% on HCAP. So any questions or comments about that? I think this is exciting. It gives you something to work towards, and it gives us a way to recognize our hospitals that are doing excellent work. And I know we all will be doing excellent work. I am going to turn the program over right now to Carol Whelan and give her a chance to talk. So, Carol, the floor is yours.
Okay, well, we've got a great group on the call today. It looks like we have 54 participants. And so we're really excited to have all of you who may be new to our call. You know, we started our sharing calls back in January for those hospitals that joined early. And so during the first few months of this project work, while we were still working on helping our other hospitals to join, we provided some educational resources that are recorded and placed on NING. So, NING is, for some of you who may be unfamiliar with NING is like a networking site. It's like a closed Google, so to speak. So you really only have to go to the link and sign on, get an account, and then you'll have access to that link from the website. So it's not a complicated, only if your system blocks that site. So for our new participants, I just wanted to let you know we do have those educational calls. One was on coding, and we had another call which participants requested that shows the difference in reporting for Maryland and Virginia. So we're all learning about value-based purchasing and or the Maryland waiver system, and I think it's great that Renee brought up an integration of that information in reports. I think that'll be really good. As we move forward, we'll be learning a lot about the new payment systems that are happening in healthcare today. So this is our time to talk, to ask questions, to share a little. I think in the conversations that I've had with several of the providers and on a couple of our one-to-one calls, everybody's ready to get busy, ready to get drilled down into what's going on with CAUTI or what's going on with CDF, or some folks join specifically because they're wanting to do the antimicrobial stewardship work. So now's a good time to kind of share maybe some ideas of where you guys want to get started. And so we are structuring these calls to meet the needs of our group. We're also open to hearing your thoughts of which direction you want us to go first. So you can just unmute your phone line. And
this is Deb, and I'm wondering if Jennifer from Webex is on the line, because I am sharing my desktop, but it hasn't changed from the data review screen.
I'm seeing it, Deb. I'm seeing the open forum slide now.
Oh, you are? Okay, good.
Thank you.
Hi, this is Betsy. Can I ask a question or maybe some advice?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, Deb, you sent me the information about the number of C. diff cases that I've entered, the lab ID cases for 2016 that are showing up as being healthcare onset. So I reviewed all those cases, and what I found was all but one of them was present on admission. And what we're finding is from the day of admission to the day the C. diff is either ordered or collected goes beyond that 4-day period. And I wondered if anybody has any kind of resolution or they have any education that they've done to get the staff to get that done more quickly.
Thank you, Betsy. Great question. Can anybody help her?
Hi, Betsy. This is Patty from MedStar St. Mary's.
Yeah.
Hi. We actually started a CDIF protocol here for nurses, and it made it very simple, and actually in order to know when they would be able to order a CDIF.
Okay.
So things of looking at the watery stools, did they have more than 3, did they have abdominal pain, and if so, they worked through the algorithm to see whether it was actually appropriate or not to order the CDIF. And that has actually helped catch a lot of it before, just like you said, the president admission as compared to being the hospital onset.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That has helped our numbers out tremendously.
Would you mind sharing that?
Absolutely.
Okay, great.
So, Patty, would you mind just sending it to me and then I can disperse it to the group?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, great. Thank you so much.
Patty, this is Deb. Are you able to get on NIM?
I'm not.
Did you try?
I have tried, but I will try again. If not, I'll start working with the IT people.
Okay, because that is one of the things that can be shared on NIM, too.
Okay.
It would be exciting to be able to put it there. So if you don't mind, we will probably send it out to the group and place it on NIM.
Sure, that's fine.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
And it'll take us a while to get a few of the bugs or the kinks worked out in our processes, in our technology. And we expect that when you put a project together that's this large, we expect the first year to be, learning a lot of what works best and what doesn't as far as our communication and how we share our resources. So bear with us. Don't lose heart. We're working feverishly to get these issues taken care of, and I'm confident that we will. Hey, Patty, I was curious. On your is this a nurse-driven protocol for your nurses?
It is.
Okay, so how sometimes those nurse-driven protocols can be complicated to get approved. Did you encounter any particular barriers for that? And if you did, how did you overcome it?
Absolutely. There obviously were barriers when it came to the physicians actually understanding when, the orders actually would not be approved. And what we ended up doing is me as the IP, I actually come in Monday through Friday, when I'm here Monday through Friday, I actually approve the orders each day, each morning, and work through them to make sure that they're actually appropriate or not. And if not, I will go talk to the physician.
Oh, wow. So is that time consuming for you, just to put that out there for anybody who might...
It was at first, in order to get the buy-in from the physicians. And now that they understand the rationale and what we're looking at, it actually has become much easier, and it takes me less than 15 minutes now each morning.
That's certainly worth an inaccurately called healthcare on-site CDIS.
Exactly.
So have you noticed a reduction?
Totally. So back in November, we ended up with 5 hospital on-site CDIS, according to NHSN definitions, and the last 2 months we have had 0.
Wow.
So in all the other months in between, we've had like maybe 1 or 2. So our rates are have definitely decreased.
So Betsy, has that helped?
Yeah, it does. I'm still wondering about how do I educate about the time frame. It seems like sometimes the physician is ordering the specimen, but it's not being collected for 2 days. And I know that at times maybe they can't collect one, but it seems like maybe it's being missed.
So Betsy, this is Patty again. One of the things we have done was put out a huge education program to all the nursing staff in regards to helping them with the CDIS and the importance of the collection.
Okay. I'm going to meet with our nurse leadership tomorrow to discuss this because obviously they were present on admission. The other question I have for Deb is, so these that are being classified as healthcare onset, is that data just being collected for baseline, or is that going to impact us as far as reimbursement now or sometime in the future?
Boy, I wish I had Sandy Gaskins on the line. I would need to look into that.
Okay.
And then, and I do have somewhere, I have that file. I have a file that has each year moving forward what's going to be added. But I thought CDIF was going to be added, and it will be the lab ID. And I'm thinking 2017 it's going to start, because this would be the baseline, and then it would start impacting in 2017. Okay. But I'm not positive about that. So I will send that out to the group.
Okay, thank you.
Because I'm sure if you have that question, everybody does.
Yeah. Well, 2017, that gives us time to get our protocols and adopt maybe Patty's protocol and get something going here.
Right.
Thanks, Patty. Thanks, Deb.
My pleasure.
Thank you. Carol, are you on mute?
Yeah, I am.
Oh.
Thank you, Deb.
Okay.
Happens often. So everybody can kind of see how the sharing portion goes of our call and how valuable it can be. And thank you, Betsy, for your question, and thank you, Patty, for engaging in the discussion and sharing your best practice. This is what makes these collaboratives work, folks. It's not about us. It's about you. You guys are on the front lines every day. You're doing the work, and you're the ones that have the answer. And so we just want to get to a place where we can hear you and we can spread this wonderful work that's going on and see an improvement for everyone. We do have our patient advisor on the line, as Deb mentioned earlier on the call. Claudia Davis is on the line, so she's had an opportunity to hear the discussion and the presentation today. Claudia, do you have any comments as we begin to wrap the call up?
Thank you. I've enjoyed it very much. I think for me personally, it would be most helpful if anyone can identify maybe a source for me to go to learn the acronyms that are talked about. And I know that everyone understands and just without even thinking they know what they mean, but I don't. And it's hard for me to follow and do it intelligently if I don't know these things. So I'm willing to look them up and learn them and memorize them, but I would love to know if there's a source where there might be a number of them readily available in one place.
Oh, I think we can find that for you, Claudia. I don't think that'll be too difficult at all. We'll work on that and get that to you in the next couple of days.
I'm a lay person with no medical background at all, so it would help me going forward just to be able to just to understand more the discussions.
Yeah. Absolutely. Thank you for that comment very much. Okay, so if we don't have any other discussion, I don't want to use everybody's time on silence, so I'll go ahead and remind everyone about our scheduled events that are coming up, that are scheduled quarterly through our QIN.
Let me just interrupt you. I don't know. I'm thinking that you can't see my screen anymore, but we do need to put out there about the group name.
Oh, yes, absolutely. Okay, thanks, Deb. So you guys, every time we send out an email in the subject line, we're tasked with typing out VHQC Maryland, Virginia, HAI Improvement Network. So we would like your help in determining a name for our group that is significant to us, our regional work, that's not as long. So we put a place out on NING for people to go and submit their recommendations or suggestions or ideas. But since everybody is not able to do that, just if you would send them to Deb and I, or if you have it off the top of your head now, enter it in the subject line, in the chat box, or bring it with you next month, and we may start off our call with your ideas in the chat box. That might be kind of a fun thing to do. So, anybody have any thoughts or ideas? Okay. Thank you for helping us with that. That'll be something fun.
In just a couple of minutes, an evaluation will pop up for you all to complete if you'll give us your thoughts.
Thank you, Rhonda, for that reminder. Yeah, you guys, we really do look at those to help guide us on our calls. We want these to be meaningful and valuable to you. We don't want to waste time. We want to be effective and efficient, and the best way we know to do that is to get your feedback. So please complete the eval and or, let Deb or I know what your thoughts or feelings are as far as our calls coming up. So we do have the Healing Hands video we've mentioned on the last few calls, and hopefully by now the majority of you have been able to go out and view that link that we sent out in previous agendas. So we'll be providing it in the call notes for our folks that can't get to me yet. Otherwise, we've posted it out there, and so we would like for you to view that. It's about 6 minutes long. If you haven't, and collect your thoughts, and we'll discuss it on our next call as well. It's a great video. And it has a little tutorial at the end where it takes you can pick which person you were in the event scenario and see what you could have done from your viewpoint to prevent that infection. So we have our QIN, National Coordinating Center, Learning in Action. I'm reading out these acronyms for everyone who probably doesn't know what they are either. Good point, Claudia. So the QIN and the National Coordinating Center provides a Learning in Action webinar series, which basically is all the QIOs come together, all the hospitals across the nation come together on these quarterly calls, and we would like to invite our hospitals to join, if your time allows, in these calls. So our next call is in December. You do have to register for it, and we will provide that registration information. I think, Deb, you have a story about that, don't you?
Yes, I didn't get on the last call because I registered late and I got put on a wait list.
And you were on that call?
I wasn't able to view it. No.
I think we had over 600 on the call.
Oh, I thought I put 800 here, but you know.
Oh, okay. Well,
there was a lot.
Last time I looked up on the participant list, there was about 600 on that call. So it's a very educational call, and they are recorded. So we'll be able to provide those recordings for you. That if you can get on them live, they're great discussions as well. Lots of networking opportunities. So thinking ahead, of course, we're engaging our patients and families, and as we've discussed before on this call, you know, we're finding that there's not a lot of patient and family engagement going on our HAI team. So we really see this as an opportunity for this group, and having Claudia on our monthly calls is going to be, I can't tell you how great that's going to be for us to really have that input from the patient side of things. So I encourage you and challenge you this month to go out into your organizations and find out what's going on with patient and family engagement work in your hospitals, because I know it's going on. Many of you have it on your website, and I know that hospitals are focused on it. It's a very important part of patient safety and a very important part of the new payment structures as well. So I know that the activity's going on. Just see if you can tap into that. And then our September meeting on the 8th is going to be around the CAUTI TAP assessment, so you won't want to miss that call. And invite your team members to join our calls as well. So Rhonda already mentioned the eval, and we're just about 3 minutes away from the top of the hour. Is there anything else in the chat box that we missed? Rebecca?
No, I'm sorry. I was on mute that time. No, there isn't anything else.
We want to thank you, Rebecca, for taking on the chat box today. She's from one of our member hospitals, and she volunteered to monitor the chat box for us, and so we just thank you for that level of participation. Please let us know again your needs and what brings value to you. On our one-to-one calls, we'll be reaching out to you guys, and if there's nothing else, Deb, you have a final word or two?
Just welcome everybody. Congratulations for getting signed on. Thank you, Becky. Everyone else knows now that it's not that difficult, is it?
No, it is not.
So we'll be looking for volunteers.
Whether you're on mute or not.
Yeah, well, we all do that, yeah. It's this day and age where we're just all hooked up by, other things besides being face-to-face. But, so we'll be looking for volunteers for the next call because we want to get everybody involved in these calls. Thank you.
Oh, and you guys, just one last thing. Check the meeting events on the agenda. I missed a couple of things about the VAE education and the CAUTI CUSP and immunization. So if you get a chance, review that on there and shoot us an email if you have a question, okay?
Thank you.
We're done. Okay, you guys, have a great afternoon. Thanks again for everything you do.
Bye-bye.